Hi everyone, it's Ravi Parmar here, British Columbia's Minister of Forests. I'm standing just outside the State Capitol building here in sunny Sacramento, California. I've been in Sacramento for the past couple of days on a trade mission, speaking directly to industry officials, to lawmakers, to Chamber of Commerce and business organizations, to Americans on the impact of the Trump tariff and duties on softwood lumber that already exist and could exist in the future as well. I'm standing outside the state capitol because it's important for me to be able to speak directly to British Columbians. That one of the commitments that I made to British Columbians when I took on this role of BC's Minister of Forests was to restore confidence in this sector, to be able to put the sector back on its feet. It's very difficult for me to be able to do that when we have duties that already exist to the tune of 14%. We know that in a week or two we'll have the exact amount of what those duties will increase to. In addition to the Trump tariff of 25%, we could be dealing with a 50 to 55% tariff and duties on our softwood lumber leaving Canada, leaving British Columbia, heading down south to the United States. Last year in 2024, we sent 4 billion board feet of softwood lumber from British Columbia to the United States. And one of the reasons why I'm here in California is we have a strong working relationship with the California government. In particular, a very strong working relationship between CAL FIRE and the BC Wildfire Service. British Columbians know all too well the devastating impact of wildfires here in our communities, and we were one of the first to be able to respond and provide support to CAL FIRE when they needed us. They called, and within hours we were down here providing support. CAL FIRE, in particular Chief Joe Tyler, who heads that organization, provided his thanks and also reiterated, as did his deputy chiefs, that in the upcoming 2025 wildfire season in British Columbia, if they need our support, they'll be there to provide that support as well. I'm looking forward to strengthening that relationship and finding opportunities to be able to work closer together with CAL FIRE and BC Wildfire Service. But I've also had some very productive conversations with building officials, with those in the building sector and the Chamber of Commerce as well. This morning I released a joint statement with Dan Dunnemoyer, who's the head president and CEO of the California Building Industry Association. We spoke directly to Americans and shared with them that the duties that already exist, the duties that will increase later this year, on top of the 25% Trump tariff that could happen on all of our goods in Canada, in particular softwood lumber, would be devastating to our forest sector in British Columbia and would be devastating to Americans, in particular those in California and North Carolina who've been decimated by these natural disasters, wildfires in Southern California. I spoke to the Chamber of Commerce. They are doing a lot of advocacy on this topic because they're excited about hosting FIFA next year. They're excited about hosting the Olympics in Los Angeles in 2028. And so we're working together to make the case to the federal government in the United States, to President Trump's administration, that by adding tariffs on already a significant amount of duties to softwood lumber is bad for business and it's bad for the people of the United States. We have figures to the tune of 20 to 30, sometimes 40% additional costs on softwood lumber. That is going to mean extra costs borne by American taxpayers who are simply just trying to rebuild their homes. This has been a very productive conversation. I'm actually going to be meeting with the state legislature senator just later this morning. I'm going to be meeting with the deputy secretary of our equivalent to the Ministry of Natural Resources that has responsibility for forestry later today, and continuing conversations. My work doesn't stop when I get back to Victoria. I'm looking forward to future conversations with American media outlets, with American mayors, especially those in the Bay Area, and in particular those in Southern California that have been impacted by wildfires, because I know that they want to rebuild, and they know very well, based off the conversations I've had with the California Building Industry Association, how important it is to us to be able to develop those relationships, because they're going to rely on Canadian lumber, in particular British Columbian lumber. The last thing I'll share with you is I made it very clear in all the conversations that I had that Canada has zero interest in becoming the 51st state of the United States of America. We value, and have always valued, our strong working relationship between our two countries. And time again, in the conversations I've had since I crossed the border and entered the United States, people have been embarrassed by the president and his comments. It's been the elephant in the room in many cases. People are embarrassed and really taken aback by the comments that the president has made about his neighbors in Canada. The Americans that I've spoken to value the strong working relationship. that we've had. We fought together in war. We've been economic partners. And in their time of need, we were there to provide support to the BC Wildfire Service. And we hope that in the days, weeks, and months ahead, we can continue to have productive conversations around rebuilding, about finally dealing with the softwood lumber challenge that has been going on longer than I've been alive, and a whole host of other issues. I've always been a big believer that it's important to put the politics aside, and it's important for me to be face-to-face in having these conversations. It's what led me down here to California, in particular to Sacramento, and it's what's going to lead me to having future conversation and future missions to be able to make the case to restore confidence in our forest sector and stand up for the hardworking men and women of our forest sector right across British Columbia.